Alright, welcome to the show. My guest today goes by the name of Dante Palminteri. He has a new track out titled Brunettes. It was a great conversation. Here's Dante Palminteri. So Brunettes is out, man. The track is out right now.
It's out. Yeah. It is out. All of my socials have it in the bio link. You know, anywhere music is streamed. So, Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, everything.
Nice. What about a music video? What's that looking like?
Oh yeah, there's a music video out right now.
All right. Nice. Now, when did the music video release with the track as well in the same time?
Same day.
Wow.
I dropped them both on Friday.
Nice, man. Nice. And what's next for that? Are we going to keep putting out next tracks? What's the rollout looking like?
So now I have a live video that I did. So I'm going to put that out. I'm looking at like next week. I'm going to put that out. And then, yeah, just after that, you know, music is sort of like you throw shit at a wall and there's no rhyme or reason to it. So, you know, next song coming around the corner and then the next song and then the next song and just keep going.
Nice, man. Nice. Absolutely. And now that things are opening up, you can go ahead and jump into that live scene more. People can go ahead and enjoy that in person.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it really sucked being in COVID because you couldn't obviously play shows. But now I'm looking at booking some new shows. I got a show coming up on Sunday, Ridgefield Playhouse in Connecticut. I'm opening up for Brett Dennen. So it's going to be really cool.
Nice, man. Nice. And so currently you're studying in New York, right? You're going to school for music.
No. So I went to school for music in Boston.
Nice. Okay, nice. And you play the guitar? Is that the main instrument you're focusing on?
Vocals and guitar. Yeah. But I play, I play a little bass, a little drums, a little piano, but mostly guitar. Vocal. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice, man. At what age did you pick up that first guitar? Was it the guitar that you picked up first?
No, I was singing. I picked up first. I picked up a guitar at like around 11 years old.
Okay, nice, man. Nice. And it was just something special you had? Were you just singing around the house? You know, was it something that your parents noticed?
I was kind of into it, and my parents were always playing a lot of music, and I always thought that the electric guitar was just the coolest thing ever.
Nice, man. What do you think about people thinking that rock and roll's, not it's got to make a comeback and everybody's, I think rock and roll will live on forever, but, music is just changing.
It never really went anywhere. It just kind of changes.
Right.
Like, it's always there, but it is kind of coming back into like mainstream right now, which is pretty cool. Like you're starting to see a lot more like artists doing pop punk and alternative rock.
Right.
Influences like Travis Barker is on every record that's coming out right now, just because everybody wants that sound.
Which is so sick for him that he's still around and they're inviting him to do that stuff. Because, dude, I mean, if you're gonna get anybody.
He's playing on everything. He's playing with like Little Huddy, and he's playing with MGK. He's playing with he's just everywhere.
Right. And I like that you say, you just got to move with it. You got to advance with the times. The style has changed, but it just as long as you can catch on that wave.
It doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, people are like, oh, well, rock isn't pop. Like, no, it is still pop. Like, everybody's listening to rock all the time. Just the mainstream wasn't really playing it, but now it is. It's just it's adding like a lot of elements of.
Absolutely.
I like the punchy drums and the big guitars. Yeah.
What are some of your inspirations? What were you looking at for inspiration when you were writing your music at first, and then even now, has the inspirations changed?
Oh yeah, I mean, my first inspiration was like I really love Tool and Soundgarden.
Yep.
Those were like my favorites. Those were like the two big. I loved Rage Against the Machine too. Those were the bands I was listening to most. I listened to a lot of like 90s rock. That was kind of that was like my introduction into rock music. That's all my mom used to play for me. So I really was into like Pearl Jam and Temple of the Dog and Alice in Chains and
oh yeah, absolutely.
No Doubt and that kind of stuff.
Nice, man.
And then when I started getting a little older, I really went hard into the pop punk scene. Like I was really only listening to Fall Out Boy or Paramore, Sleeping with Sirens, or like Of Mice and Men.
Nice.
That was my shit. But like the one artist that was constant from when I was a kid to even now is John Mayer. He's my all-time favorite musician. But now I find that I'm like I get inspired a lot by rock still, but I really love like cool jazz, like old school jazz.
Absolutely.
Like Chet Baker and Ella Fitzgerald and like Wes Montgomery and Charlie Parker, like that kind of stuff. I love old, like pre-70s jazz.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's awesome that John Mayer's keeping that alive, and he's even performed with B.B. King, and so even in his own right, he just like kind of equipped himself into that same kind of category. That dude, when he started performing with them, it's like he's Clapton, he's even played with Clapton. Like, I mean,
he's played with everybody on the planet.
Right, absolutely.
I really get inspired by those people, like those just that old jazz, man. Chet Baker is like my favorite jazz musician of all time. I love Chet Baker.
Absolutely. Chet Baker's amazing, man. Chet Baker's amazing. Same here. I love all that old music too. I mean, everybody. Django Reinhardt. I love Thelonious Monk.
I love Django Reinhardt. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. I could go on. Miles Davis. That's it. Bill Evans. I can hear Bill Evans playing in the background.
I really love. I'm gonna totally butcher his name, but Angelo Deba. He's this French gypsy jazz player, guitar player he's from a few years ago.
Okay, I'm not sure. I know that one. I might have to check that out.
Nuts. The guy's an animal. He's crazy. It's gypsy jazz. It's like super specific. He like doesn't really play. It's so fast. It's wild how he plays.
I want to see jazz just jump into the spotlight. I'm always dreaming that jazz is going to jump right in there and just, be the...
There's a lot of, like, people are taking jazz and mixing them with like, hip-hop elements or R&B elements. So I'm seeing a lot of jazz coming back right now. Well, when I was in college, that's all we really listened to, but we really loved, like, Hiatus Kaiyote and Tom Misch. And, I mean, those guys, that's jazz. Like, they get jazzy as you can get.
Right. Absolutely.
But marketed, it's like wrapped in pop or in R&B or in like dance packaging, but it is jazz music.
Do you think that that what I like a lot about the jazz music is seeing that everybody in the group performing together and looking like they were in synchronicity with each other and just really, like you said, jazzing out? And you notice that within that, do you think we're losing that a little bit with social media and just every other short-term attention? Are we able to engage like we once could?
Well, I mean, yeah, because of the pandemic, yeah, nobody's engaging at all, ever, in the past year and a half. Yeah, but no, not really. I mean, good musicians are always going to do that. Like, when I play with the musicians I play with, like, they're locked in, like they're cooking.
Right. I guess not even just the musicians, but with the audiences. Like you see now with certain concerts, you're seeing the phones out and they're putting it on the stories.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And
100%. Yeah, like you see videos of concerts and everybody is this, everybody's doing that. Everybody.
Right.
It's like 300 people in this like little club holding their phones up, and you're like, just what? Watch the show, man. Yeah, I know.
And you're jumping that into a big time because you're how long have you been releasing music for it now? When was the first track you released on? What was the first platform you released on?
I released an EP in like 2018. That was so the first music I released was in my metal band, and then I started releasing music on my own in like 2018, and then I was releasing it kind of slowly up until now. Now I have so many songs just in the can, just waiting to be put out.
Nice, man. And the inspirations with sounds, it's been changing, and now you've been integrating some more. What were some new sounds with the quarantine? The good thing with that is we were able to kind of, if you utilize the time wisely, you were able to really sit with your work and try to make the best of it in that way. What were you doing? Go ahead.
I mean, I really started writing rock music again during the pandemic. Like, because I was just home. I moved out of the city. I was on the Upper West Side, and I moved back home. And I just started listening to all the old music that I was listening to growing up. And I was like, why aren't I making this? And I was like, so just start writing that. And I just did. And I was like, oh, yes, it feels so good to write this kind of stuff again. And I was like, this is it. Like, I'm not messing around anymore. Like, I'm doing this thing.
Yep. And it's so funny when that happens. You kind of separate from what you're used to, and then you start hearing other stuff, and you're like, hold on, let's definitely go all in on this. Let's start taking some elements from this.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. I was like, shit, this is it right here.
do you have a band that you're performing with right now? Is it that do you have your set group right now?
My whole band moved across the country during the pandemic, so I'm putting together a new band. We were all in New York, and now one's in Philly, one's in Nashville. So I'm trying to find new guys.
All right, nice, man, nice. Okay, and with bands, it's an interesting thing because you have the captain of the ship. You have to kind of manage everybody's different opinions, and you have to work with that. That's such a huge thing with the band element versus like how is everybody able to kind of respect the process, and things with regards to that. It's such an interesting thing.
Yeah. Well, with me, because I write all my songs and I arrange them, so I'll write most of the bass parts or the drum parts or stuff like that. I kind of tell everybody, but the musicians I play with are so good that I don't really have to say anything. I'm like, this is the part, and they're like, cool, and that's it. But when I was younger, and I would play with my band where we all wrote the songs together, and there was a lot more, discussions. With me, it's sort of like this is the song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wrote the song like this. Like I need you guys to play it.
When with your guitar parts, can we get some insane solos coming out of you? What do you?
Yeah, I have a lot more solos coming. Yeah, I just started kind of doing that, soloing on my own records. I never thought I was good enough to solo on my own records until pretty recently.
What was the confidence? Was it just a practice? Was it just you went in, hit the books, and just put in the work, and now you're like, okay, let's do this?
Yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna really practice soloing. Like I still am nowhere near where I want to be, but I feel like I can actually do it now on my own records. And I don't hear it, and I'm like, oh god. Like I hear it, and I go, yeah, that's sick. That's cool.
Nice. There's always a little element of that, I guess, when it's you hearing your stuff. But that's awesome that you have that confidence behind it now. That's awesome.
Yeah, it feels good to be like, I like that solo. I feel good about this. Yeah.
That's the point you want to get to with any instrument, I feel like. At first it's kind of like, I'm not really, even if you can play a chord, the thing is there's so many notes that we're always trying to kind of figure out this algorithm, but in reality, you use those notes to bring what you have inside to the music. It's about how you hit that chord and how you let all that resonate. It's all those microseconds, and then just how you groove with the sound. You can just hit one singular note and try to see how you can play with that sound just to try to discover your sound. It's all about what you're making.
There's only 12 notes. That's it. That's all you got. You got 12 notes. Like,
yeah,
everybody from Suicide Silence to Beethoven to Miles Davis, they use the same notes. Just right. It's the context that matters. That's the whole thing. Kind of Blue is one take. That's insane. It's great. I mean, that's how most of the time that's how they did it back then. Like, you ever hear the Four Freshmen? You ever hear when they sing, like they sing these perfect harmonies? There's no Melodyne. There's no auto-tune. That's what they sounded like. Yep. So it's insane. Yeah. The Four Freshmen.
Four Freshmen, absolutely, man.
Four Freshmen, yeah, they're in a Mac Miller sampled them in the song Blue World.
Okay, nice.
They have a song called Blue World, and then he has a song called Blue World where he samples them. It's pretty intense how they do that. And that was just work. There was no auto-tune. Really good. They're just really, really good. Just sitting there and just like, yep. They probably have sang that song like 500,000 times, and it's 4-part harmonies perfectly. Absolutely. Nobody is out. Absolutely. When I think about that, I think about how in Bronx Tale, I think about how your dad. It's insane to think that that's your dad, but I always think Chaz Palminteri performed that show like how many times before they even approached them for the movie, and people are always wanting to make their movies and stuff, and I'm like, dude, that guy was performing the play like a one dude play for how long? Really long time. And so it's awesome to think that you have that work ethic behind you, because that's applied to your music, and it's just like you respect the process. You understand that. I think about
how hard times create great musicians, great work, and now there's not so many hard times, or at least maybe not as difficult as then. And I just want the artistry to remain
I mean,
pure.
I'm not living in hard times by any sort.
I mean,
Nation. Like, I have no hard times, but like, yeah, being a musician it's a grind for sure. It's a grind.
right, absolutely.
It's definitely a grind. I mean, I was talking to my dad about this yesterday, because there's so much more to being a musician than playing music. There's so much more. Like, and you could only know that from like releasing music, like just getting the music. Now you just have the thing. That's it. All you've done is you got it now. Now you have to do everything else to get it out there. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. A lot of people forget that as well, and it's like that alone requires a lot of work, because you don't want it to get kind of just dug underneath all the other material being made.
Oh yeah. It's like if you were making jackets, and then you just got a bunch of cloth, and you're like, all right, we're good. It's like, no. You just have the material now. Now you got to do the thing with it.
Absolutely. And
oh yeah. And then we were talking about it, and I was like, it doesn't cost money to be an actor. It costs a lot of money to be a musician.
Can you elaborate a little bit on that, just for
like, if you're being an actor, I mean, like, you need your headshots, you need to find an agent, find this, but in order to do that, you have to do shows. You don't have to pay to be in shows for most part. I mean, I'm sure some people do, but like with being a musician, dude, I mean, you need equipment, you need instruments, you need, like, if you're writing a song, if you're writing like I am, right, you need studios time, you need producers, engineers.
Oh yeah.
If you can do that yourself, that's awesome. But most people need both of those. Mastering. If you go into a studio, you're going to have to pay musicians in the studio. And now you just...
Oh, yeah.
Marketing, got to do PR. Music, like, there's so much that goes into it after you write the song. And it's like, you just got to put your nose down and drop your shoulder into it. You just got to go for it, man.
Absolutely. And the crazy thing is, now with regards to that, though, I like that you brought the jacket analogy. What did you do with that cloth? And a lot of people, they're putting a lot more effort into the marketing and the PR, and maybe some people just have a larger machine to get their work out there, and then it's like
some people are really good at it. Like, if you're really good at social media, dude, you're good. Like, you're good.
Right.
If you drop a good song and you're like, look at all these TikTok stars.
Yeah.
Like, they're not musicians. Right. They just make a song and it's like, bam.
Right. I mean, I that's what I don't want it to be possible for somebody to just auto-generate a track, and I feel like at a certain point it's going to be like that. You're going to be able to kind of just auto-generate.
I actually know a guy who wrote an algorithm. This is crazy. This like AI thing that he did, I don't even know how he explained it to me. He can make a computer listen to like 1,000 hours of Blink 182, whatever, and then it will generate like a Blink 182 song based off of what it listened to. Now, if it's good, I don't know, but it's just crazy that like that technology is starting. So in a few years, you could be like, I want a song that's just like Pop Smoke. You can make your computer listen to like every Pop Smoke song for a week, and then it'll just give you a Pop Smoke song.
That's so crazy. I think I heard something similar, that they were reproducing Amy Winehouse and Kurt Cobain tracks that they never made, but it was like, yeah, absolutely
wild what they can do now.
Do you think there's going to be a new instrument introduced to the world? Do you think we're going to be introduced to a new instrument, or are we going to remain?
I mean, it's already here. Like, if you hear with a lot of pop music, it's not so much what you can play, but it's how it sounds. It's the sound of it's the timbre of the instrument that matters. So, dude, I can make any sound on my laptop. I can make any sound, like any sound. You see these synths that people have, and it's a guy. I work with a guy who can make anything. Like, you can just get so creative. Like, if I grab my guitar that's right over there, no matter what I play, it's going to sound like a guitar. If I hit a piano key, it's going to sound like a piano key. But with my MIDI keyboard, I can make any sound.
Right. And then you got all those oscillators, all those knobs.
And anything. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, for one song, we sampled a girl walking on with high heels. And he, like, pitched that up and did all this crazy stuff with it. You know, it's important if you have a cool sound.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was so stuck with what you were saying because then I was just thinking, yes, man, yes. Like, that's when you start banging the spoons and just playing with the sounds. Like, get creative.
Oh, we do crazy shit in the studio. We'll put the amp in the bathroom. Like, we'll just start slapping our knees to try to get like the sound. And then he EQs it differently, and people go, "What is that?" And we're like, "That's just us doing this."
Yeah.
Yeah, you get weird.
So sick, man. So sick. What are you working with? Do you work with Logic or are you using what? Logic. Nice.
Logic. I don't like. I like Logic. Pro Tools drives me crazy because you need I don't know. Anyone who's listening, if you want to use Pro Tools, you need a little USB key, and if you lose it, holy shit, it's going to be 9 months before you get another one.
Really, that long?
At least the last time I used it, you have to pay to call them. Oh, Logic.
Yeah, and that's
Logic. So much more user friendly.
Yeah, I did hear you guys, and that's true. I think that's so that people don't steal Pro Tools, right? Because Pro Tools is just always pirated, and they got the key.
But nobody, I don't know, like Ableton doesn't do that. Logic doesn't do that.
No,
it's really annoying, man. It's so annoying. If you lose that key, goodbye. It's gonna suck for you. And
Absolutely.
I lose everything.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, that's so interesting that with the guitar, you pick it up, it sounds like the guitar, but once you start playing with synths, you start playing with all the envelopes and all these, just select the preset and then work behind with the preset. You can just do a lot of great stuff.
When you play that, there's another like dimension to it. If I pick up a guitar, like I said, I'm going to play the guitar. If I start messing with my keyboard, I have to go, okay, what sound am I going to have? You could spend 5 years looking at sounds. How many presets there are? Oh my god!
What are you working with presets, anyways? Silent, Omnisphere. What do you?
I really like Omnisphere. Omnisphere Trillion. I want to do keyscapes. A friend of mine showed me this thing called Arturia, which is really simple.
Yeah, I've used Arturia.
What I've been doing a lot though is I kind of use my guitar as a synth. Like, I'll make it really echoey and reverby, and I'll mess around with the EQ and the pedals and stuff, and I kind of have been using my guitar as, like in Brunettes, those synths, like when I sent it to my producer and engineer, he's like, "What are those Juno synths?" I was like, "That's my guitar, man." Like, I just messed around with it for a really long time and made it, I wanted it to sound like a Juno synth. So I've been doing that a lot, actually.
Yeah, and that's awesome because then you're narrowing down how to find that within your instrument.
Yeah, totally. So I do that on like every song now. I haven't actually used keys in a minute. I just use my guitar. I'm like, I know I want this kind of sound, and I just get it on my guitar.
Nice, man. Yeah, that's why I kind of stopped using my laptop as well. I spent a lot of years doing this production on the laptop, and I was doing that, stay up all night, and just would love to do the sounds, and would even watch these like super old school videos of just like the most boring thing, really. It'd be just a guy explaining each little thing, and I was so interested. And then I was like missing the guitar, just that interaction with the thing, and then
what's it called? I have a friend who called it paralysis of choice. I was like,
pretty much, that's a good way to put it.
Like, you could just be there all day, just like, oh, I like this sound. You have to know when the sound is good.
That's exactly what it was. It was just too many options. I was literally like, I had great stuff, and then I'd tweak it, and then next thing you know, that the tweaks just got way too far. And
now this sucks. I hate this. I do that. That's the story of my life.
Yep.
Keep messing with it, and then by the end of a month, you're like, what am I even doing right now?
Yeah, that's
back to the beginning.
That's how I got into saving so many versions of the same track. I'd have like 10 versions of the one track because I'd be like, dude, like I'm tweaking it,
Yeah, that's a new problem. That is a really new problem. Like, you have to, but that's just the keys. Like, now you do. I'll sit there for 2 hours listening to snare drums. No, that one. No,
Yeah.
this one. Go. Like,
Yep.
crazy, man. Like, you could just go. That's why, you have to know when you go, I like it. That's good.
Right. I've now I try to do now what I try to do is like identify what I'd like in a track that I hear, like those old 80s tracks. I love the toms, just that dry tom with a reverb, and you just sound, that's so sick, and try to replicate that. How do I get to that?
Yeah.
Because whatever your buddy said, analysis of the paralysis of choice, it's true, man.
So true. It's so true. It's so, like, it would stop me from writing, because I would be like, oh my god, I have to look through all these. I have to go through 6 hours of Omnisphere samples. It's like, no, you don't, man. Like, just chill. You find something you like, go with it. Just relax. Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about social media and how now, I don't know if there's more musicians, but there's more musicians in the public eye, right? You can just put hashtag guitarist and you have a lot of dudes just shredding up and down, and like, how are we finding, how are we going to separate that? How is everybody going to get a spotlight, but at the same time we give it to the ones that really need it? What do you think that's going to transition into?
Like, you just got to be, like, it's obviously, it starts with being dope. Like, if you're not good, you're not good. Like, you can be really good at social media, but like, if you're not good at playing, like, if you just can't do it, I don't think, like, you have to be somewhat musical, I think, at least.
That's like the internet gurus being like, put out whatever you got, just put it out. And then sometimes it's like, all right, it's good to do that, like constant putting stuff out.
You have to put it out, but you have to make sure it's like good.
Yeah.
You have to like do, put it, like, try your, put it out, but try your hardest, for sure. That's, I'm getting there. Just constantly rolling stuff out. But I think a lot of, like, okay, so let's say you're not musical. You could reach a certain point, but you're gonna plateau, and you're gonna stay there. I mean, like, the real musicians, the real good players, they're not going anywhere. Like,
Nope.
They're not going anywhere, man. Anywhere.
Nope.
They're always gonna be killing it. Always. Like, there's some musicians that just are not a fad. They're not gonna fall off. They're just not gonna happen.
And that happens organically. You see it. You're just like, all right, everybody's kind of, but then you just see something stick, and it just sticks.
People are always going to listen to J. Cole. Always.
Right.
Always. In 10 years, 20 years, he'll put out another album, and people are still going to be like, what did he do? Like, I can't wait to hear it. Like, if you're good, you're good.
And I love that they know that, because then you won't see him for a little while, and it's like you see all this other noise being made, and it's like he doesn't even feel that kind of pressure to be constantly there. He's like, I know where I'm at.
That's his thing. And that's what you have to do. It's really hard to do that with social media, but you have to stop looking at it. I try to do that all the time. It's really hard. It's really hard because people don't post, what people don't post what they don't like. They only post their highlight reel.
Right.
So you're looking at someone's highlight reel, you're like, oh, I suck. It's like, no. You got to put the blinders on. You just got to do your thing.
Absolutely. It's such a polished thing, and that's a big reason why I started to do this show, because all that polished stuff we see, there's a lot of that, and a lot of it is very fabricated. It's like when we get that, or at least you should get that. This is someone's like resume. I know that because as an actor, you see the resume, and it's like,
it is a resume. Yeah, man. If you're a musician, if you're trying to make it now, I mean, social media is, who is this person? Okay. If you're a musician now, like, dude, you gotta have a following on social media. I mean,
absolutely.
Because a label will look at you and go, oh, this guy has, 100,000 followers. Like, it's a built-in audience, basically.
The audience is a huge thing, even with skateboarding. I'm a skateboarder. I grew up a skateboarder, and all my buddies who are, absolutely.
I don't know anything about skateboarding.
It's cool, man. It's like street, it's a very, like, it's a fun thing to do. But my buddies who are trying to get sponsored, they're saying you can't even get sponsored just off of your skill. You need a following. And it's like, dude, that's insane. Yeah. But with regards to that, I think you can't deny, back to what we were saying, with your skills, you can't deny skill in any department, music, in anything. In anything.
You can't. Like, if someone's really good, they're going to be really good. Like, there's hard work there.
Absolutely. Nice, man. All right, Dante. And so what does your routine look like right now with the music? Are you in the studio every day? Are you just playing with sounds? Are you doing writing?
Right now, I'm not in the studio right now. I got to go back, though, like maybe next week. I was in Texas for a while, and now I just got back. So now we do a lot of stuff over Zoom since the pandemic. Like, I don't have to go. If it's something really quick, I don't need to go all the way to his place. Like, we'll just be like, let's jump on Zoom and just hash it out really quick. So I've been doing a lot of that. I'm gonna go back to the studio very soon, start some new records. That's for sure.
So Brunettes, you got the music video out, you got the track out. That's really exciting. And now with that group that you have, like you said, you've been meeting through Zoom, and that's the cool thing with Zoom. Zoom wasn't that big before the quarantine, and now it's like they hit it off, man. They hit the jackpot.
I should have invested in Zoom before, like February, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Zoom is killing me now.
So you're kind of out of your comfort zone right now, right? You said you were back at home, but you had moved out before the quarantine, right? So you
Oh yeah.
Gotcha.
Hey, I moved out a while ago, but then my girlfriend and we moved into a new place like February, and then got right out of there.
Wow. But you made the best. I'm sure you made it work. You made it work.
We did. It was intense, man. Upper West Side, like you didn't want to be on the Upper West Side. Did not want to be there. People just left. Landlords just left. Landlords just gone.
Wow.
Building managers just packed up their stuff, got in the car, left, never came back.
Yeah, we saw a lot of that. Definitely, a lot of weird stuff happened for sure, like that. I think, but moving forward, I think we're going to be a lot more prepared. Hopefully, we'll be more prepared. Hopefully, and I think we will be. I think everybody, just in general, we're going to tell our kids this, our grandkids this. It's like, yo, this was wild.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I feel like I should be on the show Doomsday Preppers now. Like, in my apartment, like I have like a go bag, like ready to go. No way am I getting. I was lucky that I had a way out. A lot of people aren't lucky and they can't get out quickly.
Yeah, can we talk a little bit about that? How you're just you got a pretty lucky situation there, man.
I looked out. My parents live a little ways outside of the city. They happen to be in the city, and they're like, get a bag now. I'm driving up. You guys are getting in the car. You're gone.
All right, nice, man. And so when you packed up, what did you start to do? Because I believe you started to work on, your father has a show, right? He has the Dante Palminteri show, and I've heard you on there before recently.
I'm doing that right after I get off this Zoom call. Yeah.
Nice, man. Nice. So you've been even doing production stuff. You're doing,
Yeah, I do sound for that show. It's really fun. Yeah.
Nice, man. I love it, man. I was hearing those sandy blue eyes, and I was like, I'm in.
He's upstairs right now. He's here.
Really?
Yeah, he's up.
Oh, that was the coolest thing.
Yeah, Sandy's something else, man.
That was a great episode. And then the questions you're hitting him, I was just awesome, because it's like a different generation, and you're like, Sandy, tell us about this. What do you think about this? And that guy is just built different.
I love to ask him all those questions. It's always just so funny.
Look at that, man. So can we talk a little bit about that, Dante? You growing up with your father, you must have met a lot of interesting characters and just came across a lot of these cool people.
Yeah.
That's
a lot of wild dudes.
Now, that's really awesome just with regards to your music, because you have a lot of experiences you can put into the music. You meet a lot of these characters, and that gives you a sort of element that a lot of people can't see. You got a lot of that style and groove that it just instilled in you, that once that's gone, it's like, how do you replicate that? It's just, you learn from your parents, and hopefully we can keep that going.
Yeah, they don't make guys like the people I know from hanging out with my dad anymore. They don't make those types of guys anymore. They're crazy, man. They're crazy. Like the shit that they did. Just there was like no consequences. There was no security cameras. There was no like cell phones footage. Like it was just a bunch of like 20-somethings. You just let them loose in the Bronx. It was mayhem.
Absolute mayhem.
A lot of those guys.
There's still mayhem. I think there's still that mayhem is good, right? Yeah. You need that for it to. It's all good, man. It's all just good.
Yeah. I mean, they
Nice,
tell me
man.
these stories where I'm like, oh, like you didn't get arrested? They're like, nah, nobody knew. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're in prison if you did that today.
Yeah, literally, right? Literally, but it's a different time. That's what cops were still using, like the old movies with the cops beating up the bad guy. Even now, you see that, and it's a more complicated thing. But so, what's next for you, Dante? You got your music. You doing sound for the show. Are you?
What's next is just more music, more live shows, more music videos, just more music, man. That's it. That's like 100% of my day.
Any hopes and dreams to maybe make it to the big screen one day, doing any type of acting?
100%, man. I'm acting. If I'm not playing music, I'm acting. Like I audition constantly. I mean, it was way slower because of this COVID shit, but now it's starting to pick back up again, and I'm going back out on auditions more.
Nice.
And yeah, acting is sort of the same as music. I mean, you go on an audition, you just do your thing, and then you just do the next one. You can't get too attached to one thing because it's going to eat you up.
Absolutely. And the good thing with the Zoom is that a lot of the auditions now have been through Zoom, so you kind of are able to separate that attachment, because a lot of, at least out here in Hollywood, you get attached because you drive an hour to the audition room, you're there for 5 minutes.
Yeah. New York, I'm looking to move to LA, and my parents were like, this is a new problem that you're going to have. Like, if you're in Venice, you might have an audition in Studio City, and that's going to suck.
Oh yeah. I grew up here, man, and that Venice to Studio City would be it's a drive. I mean, I used to live a mile down from most of the studios, and you're still there for about 30 minutes. You're still gonna be, bumper to bumper, and but.
Yeah, see, my parents, because they lived in LA, I haven't lived there yet. I'm looking to. My parents were like, in LA, I mean, one audition, that's your day a lot of the time. That's your day. It takes you 45 minutes, an hour to get there. You get there, let's say you're there for 30 minutes, and it takes you like 2 hours to get back if you had a bad time. It's like, it's a 4 or 5 hour ordeal. New York, I'll be in West Village. I'll have, I'll need to meet somebody for a reading, wherever. I'll be in Brooklyn. I have to go to the Upper West Side. They're in like nothing, no time.
Yeah, that's it. That's the differentiation, man. Absolutely. They're so right about that. It's pretty much your day, man. It's true. I would drive to an hour, and then like might as well grab. There's a lot of time invested into it. But like I said, with the Zoom, you're able to do a couple of them. It helps out a lot with regards to that. But also, there's nothing like meeting face to face with the audition studios.
There's nothing like it. I have like I built like a self-tape studio right over there, right behind you, this camera. I have like a little backdrop in the camera because there's just so many, yeah. But there's nothing like, I mean, well, on Zoom, on a self-tape, you can do it as many times as you like and then send it in, but they don't actually get to see you. But when they see you, I feel like it's so much more personable, and you really get to see them and feel each other, see the chemistry. But then, like, dude, if you do it, that better be good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't do it 7 times, maybe twice.
That's true. Maybe once. That's the thing. You're so right. You can
once, maybe 2 times if they like you.
2 times if you're willing to ask, but most people would do that one and just be like, ooh, is that, and then it's like, you better ask for that second one, because they might respect you more, just like, hey, let's go ahead.
I haven't been on an in-person audition since like the beginning of March. It's going to feel really weird.
Yeah, same here. I have not either. I've had a bunch of Zoom stuff come in, but no in person.
Nothing in person. It's going to be really strange.
Yeah, absolutely. What about movie theaters? What do you think's next? The quarantine really solidified. A lot of people jumped onto the streams and just kind of got with it with streaming stuff. How do you think movie theaters are going to come back with this?
I love going to movies. One of my favorite things. I love doing that. Love it. Love going to the movies. But I think movie theaters aren't going anywhere. But who doesn't like going to the movies?
Right. Do you think they're going to have to do something a little more innovative than just, maybe putting a little more padding on the couches and throwing martinis on the movies?
Yeah, you're seeing that a lot now. Like in the city, I mean, there's all these movie theaters that have, it's like a bed, basically. And you have a little table, and they have food. You can get drinks, and it's really nice now.
Yeah.
Yeah, now a lot of movie theaters are really cool. Really cool. There's a place in Brooklyn that I really like going to. It's called the Nighthawk movie theater, and they play they'll play like all the Oscar shorts, and you have cool seats. It's like, oh, it's so nice, man.
Yeah, that's like Quentin Tarantino's theater. He has one out here in Hollywood that he plays a lot of old movies during the week, and it's like, you got to keep that stuff. That's awesome too.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Absolutely.
Of course, I want to go see Batman in a movie theater. I don't want to see it on my little TV, my apartment.
Right. Do you have any what are your favorite filmmakers?
I mean, okay, here's the thing. My favorite filmmaker, my favorite movies to watch, I have to separate the art and the artist, but my favorite movies are movies directed by Woody Allen. You know what I'm saying? I love his movies, but I kind of have to put that over there. You know what I'm saying? I love his movies. I love, obviously, Scorsese. That's a default for me. My favorite movies of all time is, it's a toss-up between two. It's the Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and the movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix.
Yep. Scarlett Johansson playing the female. Yep.
Movie's so good. I love that movie more than anything.
That's a great film. That's a great movie.
Oh, it's so good. I like the costume and the color grading, and it's just Joaquin is a monster.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I remember even with the soundtrack of that film, I dug pretty deep in that soundtrack.
The score is wild.
Yeah, the score. Yeah, absolutely.
I myself playing it on my Instagram. I just love it.
Yeah, that's a good movie, man. That's a good one to choose right there. If you guys haven't seen that, that's like a guy falls in love with his artificial intelligence, and I think that's going to happen one day.
100%. Yeah.
Dante, before we let you go, can you're a dedicated musician. You got your work coming out. Do you have any advice for musicians out there who are just wanting to put out their work and maybe have a little bit of writer's block? They don't know what to do. You have confidence in your soloing now. Is it putting in the work? Do they got to put in the work and just walk the walk?
There's a book called The War of Art, which I read, and I was like, oh, I get it now. There's a part of you can't, you have to separate your internal monologue from your work. You have to know what you have to do. And I struggle with this all the time, but this book kind of helped me put it in perspective. If you say, all right, I'm going to write 2 songs this week, 3 songs this week. I mean, that's your work. Any distraction in your brain is your insecurities trying to get you to stop doing that. You just have to put your blinders on, and you have to go, okay, that's there, but I'm just going to do it anyway. And if it's shit, it's shit, but I'm doing it. That stops a lot of writing. It stopped a lot of writing with me. Oh, it's not good, stop. It's no, write the not good stuff. And that will get you to the good stuff. That's the road to good stuff is the shit. You don't just sit down and write a hit song in a second. I mean, sometimes, very rarely that happens, but most of the time you have to sit there for a long time. And then finally, there it is. So, just put your head down, put your blinders on, and just do your thing. And if it sucks, just let it suck and just keep going. Just be a tank.
Yeah.
Be a monster. Just keep moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And it, like you said, once you get that thought of just not wanting to do it anymore, keep going.
Exactly, but you have to keep doing it.
Yeah.
That's exactly when that is like, that's the breaking point. Like if you hit that wall and you're like, I don't want to do it anymore. Fuck. And then you like go play, you know, Call of Duty or something. It's like now your brain knows, oh dude, we'll just bail if it's not good. It's like, no, you have to sit there and go, I don't want to do it anymore. And then keep going.
Keep going. Dante, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on our show today. Thank you for coming
so
on.
much for having me, man.
All right. Thank you, Dante.
All right, see you later.
All right.